So January 22nd, 2006. I'll remember where I was because I actually attended an NBA game that night because I was in college and I got some free tickets, like all the way up in the nosebleed.
What a
right?
W. Oh, my
I
God.
thought I saw, oh, this is going to be the highest scoring game of the night. Tracy McGrady of the Houston Rockets scored 40 on the Detroit Pistons. I was in college. I got some free tickets. I went. That wasn't even half of the highest scoring game that night because Kobe lit up the Toronto Raptors for 81 big of them things, right? 28 of 46 from the field,
Great.
7 of 13 from 3, 18 of 20 free throws in the game that they were down by like 15 in the second quarter or whatever. Like, what do you remember from that game or even that period of Kobe Bryant?
So I was in college too, and I remember the game because I was surprised that the Raptors were smoking them. They were down by like 18 going into the third, and Kobe was having this really good game, like just efficient as hell. I remember he was like had an active streak of the most free throws made in franchise history or something like that, like 60 something in a row. But then when it turned to the third quarter, you just saw this different, like something snapped in Kobe. Because he was putting on the clinic in the first half, but it was mostly like attacking the basket, mid-range, going to the line. He started just launching from three. And I remember the one shot that he had over Mo Pete, and I think there was somebody else that was trailing it. He pump faked twice and like hit this ridiculous shot. And it was like, all right, this guy's not going to miss the rest of the game. And for him to go on a span, like I think he scored 55 in the second half.
Yeah.
He scored like 23 in 9 minutes. It was like I was witnessing, like I've only seen like probably 2 or 3 60-point performances before that. And Kobe had done it earlier that year. But that was a stretch of Kobe's career that I was like, I remember him giving like any given night, he's giving you 40.
Right.
And he only did that a few times, I think, in that span. But I think he ended up averaging 43 over the course of that month. But I think he had dropped 50 2 games before that, like 48. Kobe was so locked in at that point. I was like, yo, this guy might actually score 100. Because there was a time he dropped 62 in like 3 quarters, and he was like, no, don't put me in.
And sat out and did not play like in the fourth quarter. Like I'm looking at Kobe. I'm on Kobe's basketball reference page. And just from this season alone, I'm counting one. Let's see, from all the way down. He literally, Dan, had, if I'm counting right, like 23 games of 40 points or more that season. Like the binge that he was on, don't get me wrong, unabashed chucking, right? Chucking. Man was chucking like it was no tomorrow. But when you're on a team, as I look at this box score, and I remember this Lakers team, Lamar Odom, who was no aggressive offensive player, really good all-around player, but no aggressive guy. Smush Parker, who we got all the jokes for. Kwame Brown, who we got all the jokes for. Chris Mim, Devin George, Luke Walton, Sasha Vujacic, Brian Cook, and some chap named Devin Green who played all of 4 seconds in that game. Maybe when Kobe came and sat out, Devin Green came and sat and played, and that's like a trivia question. But I remember looking at, like I was on YouTube early just to like refresh my memory.
Yeah.
I remember him going to the basket a lot. You know what else I saw a lot of in that game, Dan? A lot of long twos. A lot of twos that were, as much as he shot 13 threes, he took like another 3 or 4 20-footers that was like a foot or two in front of the line. Like he was just, I have a saying, Dan, there's some players who are parched and some players who are thirsty. That man needed shots like he was in the Sahara Desert and water was a mirage. He was like, bet we down 16, we down 18. I get to fire away.
Y'all ain't touching the rock. Just give it to me. I'll
you got a better chance of touching rock than touching the rock that night. Ain't no touching the ball when Kobe's on a bender like that. I will say this, Dan. I'm gonna see if you rock with me. He's not a better scorer than Michael Jordan because Michael was a much more efficient scorer. He got to all the spots and everything else. Kobe was a better deep range shooter So I think that made him a better binge scorer, if you would say. Like, Kobe lacked conscience in a way that even Michael Jordan, who's a total basketball sociopath, right?
Yeah.
Kobe's a different type of, like, 3 people on me, I'm shooting. Mike might give that thing up and try to get it back and relocate. Kobe like, man, I'm not passing to these dudes. They might do something stupid like dribble. No.
I mean, so I don't know if I could go that far, but I think it's very, very close. Because, like, Mike never touched 70, right? And for Kobe to go get 80.
69 was the highest that Mike had. He 16, and that was an overtime game, I want to say, against Cleveland in 1990.
But if you look at over the totality of both of their careers, I think Jordan's got way more 40-point games and 30-point games and all that. But I think the way that Kobe got his tend to be like more difficult. Like, he made hard shots look easy. Jordan did too, but as you said, like, he would reset, get the ball back, do whatever. But like, where Kobe would be like pump fake, spin move, pivot, fade away in the corner, makes it. And it's crazy because I think it kind of revived Jalen Rose when he was just in the name of basketball circles, just because, like, he got cooked so bad that to only make a commercial later about that was just like, that was one of the best ESPN commercials they ever made.
Yeah. 81 olives.
Yeah.
I think Kobe, the difference between Kobe and Mike, at least from a scoring standpoint, was this for me. Kobe could make any shot because he would take any shot. Like you said, 3 guys on him, pump fake, whatever. He would take any shot, miss any shot. Mike always got the shot he wanted. Mike would pick a spot on the floor.
Yeah.
And I'm getting there in 1 dribble or 1.5 dribbles or 2 dribbles. If I'm getting to the basket, I'm getting there. He was just so much more athletically gifted than Kobe Bryant, in my opinion. He had bigger hands. He was quicker. He could jump higher. All of that stuff. Like, Kobe was more, Kobe had to rely more on, I won't say trickeration because that's demeaning, but Kobe had to rely more on the exact footwork and playing the angles the right way. Michael was like, man, look, I'm getting there and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, I have the big joker. If you ever played spades, I got the big joker on my head and I'm throwing it down and I don't care what you have. I have the big joker and I'm not worried about it because I also have the little joker. I don't think Kobe had big and little joker all the time.
No. But I think also, if you look at the way Kobe won those 2 championships after the three-peat with Shaq, that was also a different version of Kobe that I think we never really got to see Mike, because Mike was always winning chips with, like, what you would call a stack roster, playing against plumbers, as the young kids.
We are not calling those dudes plumbers.
None of them are plumbers. No,
we are not calling those dudes
they were
plumbers.
Not. They were hardly plumbers. But Kobe learned how to lead, and I think that was one thing that there's a couple of things that I captured from Scotty's conversation. I was like, he has some realism left in him. One was that his GOAT was Magic Johnson. And I think if you talk to a lot of old heads like my pop, his favorite player was Magic Johnson too. So I get, if that's your GOAT, that's fine. I'm not going to contest it.
Right.
The other thing he said, that Mike wasn't a great leader. And by all accounts, he probably wasn't, but he did what he needed to win. Was he your friend? No, but he figured out a way to win. I think Kobe figured out if he was going to win, he had to do it, as being a leader, talking up Paul Gasol, Metta World Peace, Lamar Odom, making them into championship players. That was Kobe raising the floor. And I think Kobe, needs more credit for that, especially when he did it at that point in his career. Because he was like, the younger heads were coming up on his tails, like LeBron was emerging, a lot of younger players, and he still got those 2 rings. So as much as, like, Jordan is better and he lived in the shadow of Mike for all of his career, he did damn well for himself, and he's the closest thing we ever see to MJ.
Look, I always say this, and this is no shot to Kobe Bryant, because we on Monday get a special episode about Kobe Bryant. So this is not an insult. Mike is cherry Coke, Kobe's Diet Coke. They're both Coke.
Yeah.
You know the difference.
Yeah.
But I think in those 2 seasons without Shaq, those 3 seasons without Shaq where he didn't have any level of stacked roster, we got to see Kobe in full bloom in a way that he was no longer, like, restricted. And then Kobe also got a chance to see what it's like. Oh, man, this ain't really that fun. It is fun, but how fun is it if we're not making the playoffs and we're going home in round 1 because I don't have guys playing next to me like the roster that I just mentioned to you guys. So it was a fascinating period in Kobe Bryant's career, and it reached a crescendo with 81 points that day. It's still amazing to consider that the man took 46 shots.
Are we going to see 80 points again?
Ooh, are we going to see 80? I would say yes. Because remember, Luka scored like 73 last year against Atlanta.
Donovan dropped 70.
And it looked easy because the rules, if we don't change the rules, if we don't allow for more physicality on the perimeter, which I think there was a lot more physicality even for Kobe Bryant because the floor was more compressed and Kobe had to navigate in smaller spaces. Now there's so much more space to cover. There's less impediment for guys as far as getting to the basket or shooting threes. If they want to pull, they'll just pull. So if guy gets on the heater, he'll do it. My fear is that one of these coaches will, or one of the nerds will say, hey, we should pull player X out because we got a game in 2 nights and we need to sit him down. That's the fear that I have, that somebody will be on a heater and somebody will arbitrarily say, oh, he's at 35 minutes tonight. We need to pull him.
Yeah, I think we'll see 80.